Hi, I'm Kalila Reynolds, and this is JN Talking Wealth, brought to you by the JN Group. If you're interested in achieving financial freedom and building generational wealth, this is the program for you. Welcome. So what comes to mind when you think about the word debt? Well, for many people, it conjures images of sadness, frustration, and stress. Some Jamaicans will even tell you to avoid debt at all costs. But what if I told you that debt can actually be a good thing and that there are many ways that borrowing can even help you to achieve wealth? Ever heard the adage, it takes money to make money? Well, that can be considered the simplified way of explaining good debt. In fact, some of the wealthiest people you may know are in debt. On our first episode of JN Talking Wealth, we'll discuss good debt versus bad debt and how you can use debt to your financial advantage. Our guest today is Petal James, Chief of Retail Sales at JN Bank. Now, before we delve into our discussion, let's check in with our Spotlight segment.
Something that I don't want to be in, I don't want to be a part of, I don't want to be associated with debt at all.
Debt means like you're in a situation where you can't finance yourself financially or you can't find or provide as much as you would want. Yeah.
I think about my debtors. I know I don't want to pay them, so I don't have any debtors because Jesus paid it all.
So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of the word debt is overspending, not planning properly, not having a proper budget. So there comes debt.
Well, once debt coming in with a pre-debt, debt not going away. You have to just hustle and just believe in yourself. I remember nobody can know, because I never look good and I never clean.
When you borrow money for buy a bus and you cannot pay back the loan, then they're going to take back the bus. You understand? Or you have to borrow something else and then you have to run the debt again. You get me? So you have to just hope and pray that the Lord can help you to get the money to pay back the debt.
When I think about debt and not being able to pay off what I owe somebody, it's not a nice feeling. It's not a nice feeling. It's not something that I want to experience. So I always find myself not wanting to take loans or certain things because I don't want to find myself in a position unable to pay, and then the embarrassment and all kind of things. So when I think about it, I just really don't want to find myself in it.
Thanks for staying with us. We continue here on JN Talking Wealth, and we're discussing good debt versus bad debt. Hi, Petal. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm great, Kalila.
So good to see you looking like a lovely flower, as your name implies.
And yourself. Thank you.
All right, so let's start with some definitions. First of all, what is debt?
Debt. Any instrument that you pay back. That's simply debt. So someone lends you something or lends you some money, that's a debt.
Right.
It's basically debt.
Right. So debt has had a negative connotation and a negative reputation over time. A lot of people are afraid of debt or have had very bad experiences with debt.
Yes.
But you do have good debt. What is good debt? Because people might be thinking that's an oxymoron, good and debt in the same sentence.
Yeah.
What?
Good debt. Any debt that is going to increase your net worth is something productive. That's good debt. If it is that you're going to go back to school, you want to invest in your education, that is a good debt. If you want to take out a loan to finance your education, that's a good debt because you're investing in yourself. You will reap some reward in the future. That's a good debt. For instance, you want to buy a property. That is also a good debt. Or you want to open a business. So once it will earn income for you, or it will increase your net worth, make you better off, that's a good debt.
Ah, interesting. So how can borrowing actually help you to generate that income?
Well, a lot of persons don't have the money now. And so financiers are out there, or depositors in financial institutions. So at JN, persons will deposit money. And so we on lend. And so you don't have the money, Kalila. You want to open a business, a small business. We have the money. We can lend you.
All right. So the thing that we may be more familiar with is bad debt. So what is bad debt?
Bad debt is the opposite. Any debt that does not give you value or increase your net worth, that's a bad debt. And so an example of that, what if you take out a loan to, for instance, persons don't have the money to say go and party. Yeah, and you go and borrow to go to party. It's not going to give you any value in return. That's a bad debt. Yeah, you could have used the money to turn over some income for you, to increase your net worth. So borrowing for instances where it is not going to increase your value, that's a bad debt.
So consumer debts. You go
Consumer
on a
debts.
shopping spree.
Yes, impulsive buying.
Yes.
Yeah, you go and use your credit card impulsively. That's a
Tell you,
bad debt.
that's how I got into problems with my first credit card. I got my first credit card, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I'm going shopping," and
No.
it took me a long time
You
to pay that
you
off.
never use your credit card for what you can't pay back.
Exactly.
That's a bad debt.
But when you have a good debt now, you are going to earn
You're
from
going
the
to
debt
earn
'cause it's an
and
investment.
increase your net worth. Yes.
So are there any debts, and I guess you just gave an example that you should absolutely avoid at all costs?
Any debt at all that is unnecessary, you have debts that are necessary. You don't have the money, as I said to you earlier, you don't have the money right now to do what you want to do. It will make you better off. Say, for instance, you need to make a deposit on a property. You may not have the money now, Kalila, but you can take an unsecured loan. Yeah? And suppose a property will go on Airbnb. You can take the income from that Airbnb and pay off back that debt because you have invested in an asset that can turn over monies for you.
Right. So speaking of that, so we have mortgages. A mortgage is one type of debt.
Yes.
So you borrow money from a bank in order to buy a property. Usually, most people think of it in terms of buying a house
Yes.
for themselves to live in. Right. That's the type of mortgage most people have. But how can a mortgage be used to generate income and also build generational wealth? Because for most people, that's just a bill.
Yeah. Mortgages is one of the most important investments anyone could make. Young persons are coming out now, to take out their mortgages. A property being bought today, Kalila, I can guarantee you a couple months later, it will appreciate in value. The economy of Jamaica supports that. So if you buy a property today, it suits you to do it now, once you're able to, because if you buy it today, say at 14 million, in another 6 months or so, the value of the property will appreciate.
That quickly?
Yes.
So property values are rising that fast right now.
Yes. The opposite is for a car. The moment you go on the road, it starts depreciating in value. So we encourage persons to take out a mortgage, owner occupied, if you're going to be living there, and some persons do it for investment, rental income. And so even if you take out your NHT now to buy your first property, you can buy another one and rent it out. That's how you can generate income, from your real estate.
So two ways. The property value appreciates over time.
Yes.
So that's an investment for you. You earn back.
In future as well, once the property appreciates in value, also the loan is decreasing, you're creating equity for a second mortgage. So if you want to go back to school, if you want to buy another property. So that's how you now create generational wealth. You can pass it on to your estate.
So explain that concept of equity. How does that work? How do you get equity in your home?
Equity is something intangible. Once the loan is decreasing, once you're paying down on your loan, your property value is increasing. The difference between what is current on the loan and what is currently the value of the property, that gap is your equity. So you can pull from there.
That's the percentage of the property that you own because you paid for it.
Yes.
So if you've done pay half of your mortgage, then you have 50% equity in your home.
And that's
you can use that equity for additional loans.
Once it's productive. And it's secure because it's on a real estate that is going nowhere and it's also appreciating in value.
Right. So we said two ways. One, the appreciation of the property over time. And then two, you can use it to generate immediate income through rental. And there's so many different ways you can do that now. You have the Airbnb, like you mentioned.
Airbnb,
long-term rental.
Short-term rental.
Yeah. It really makes a lot of sense when you think about it that way. So let's talk about car loans, because you did mention car loans as being one type of debt. And once you buy the car, it immediately starts depreciating the minute you drive off the property. But I see a note in my notes here that car loans can also be a type of good debt. So tell me how.
It can be. Kalila, what if you have a business and you need a car to help you with that business? So even though it's a consumer debt or it's taken from you because you have to license that car, you have to insure that car, you have to buy service the car. That car is also allowing you to turn over. Suppose you're a taxi operator. Yeah, it can't be a bad debt for you. It has to be a good debt because you need a car to get your work done. So that's one way in which you can use a car to create wealth.
So it's actually an asset in that case.
It's actually an asset. But if you purchase a car that you don't need to purchase right now, it can be a bad debt, especially the type of car. So say, for instance, and I don't want to be biased towards any type of car. Say, for instance, you have a good working car now because you want to say, show off, probably on your friends or your family. You go and change out your car. You don't need to right now. Yeah, you could take that money and do something else to convert. Yeah. So you have to think carefully the type of car that you want to buy now. Petrol prices are going up. Yeah, and so you want to be sure that you're buying a car that you can buy your petrol. You can probably pay back the loan as well, and so you can manage and live rather than changing the car just because you want to show off on your friends. Yeah.
And pro tip: if you buy that car for your business, that becomes a business expense.
Yes.
And you can write that off for tax purposes as well.
Definitely. You also have persons who buy cars or several fleet of cars in their taxi business. That's a good business as well.
Right, because then you rent out that vehicle to taxi operators.
Yes, you also have
earning come from it.
Yeah, you also have persons who buy a car for rental business. Several cars in their fleet of rental or taxi or tour guide. Yeah,
tour guides, yes,
yeah. So you have persons who have their Airbnb. They have a car to go with the Airbnb, where they can rent the property and also use the car for that person who wants, to rent the property and the car as a combo deal. You do have that now.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense because I would love to rent a vehicle with the property that I'm staying at. I know in the States they have Turo, which is like the equivalent of Airbnb for vehicles, and you can rent your vehicle on Turo. I don't know if that service is available here yet, but people do rent vehicles, short-term, long-term. So a car can generate income for you if you're using it for that purpose. Very interesting, Petal. So I know that once in debt, people are often advised not to take on any additional debt. This can be very, very scary, but let's discuss how you can actually borrow strategically to pay off your debts.
You can. There's something called debt consolidation. It can be good and it can be bad.
Somebody just asked me about this in my DMs like a few hours ago.
Yes, debt consolidations can be good and it can be bad. If you're not disciplined enough, a debt consolidation can be bad because what you're doing, you're refinancing existing debts, perhaps over a longer time, maybe at a lower interest rate, but you may go back to where you're coming from. And so a debt consolidation is really supposed to take you out of the situation that you're in now, especially if you're in a bad debt situation. If you're in a situation where you're not paying your loans on time, you may have lost your job, something may have happened and you're in a bad situation and you need to recover, then we can give you a debt consolidation. But you have some persons who don't, stay on the path of consolidation. What it does, it creates space in your salary. Because what we're doing, we're taking all the debts that you have. You may have 5, 6, say you're paying 150,000, and we consolidate
to
you.
Different people, different places.
Different
you
interest
owe your
rates.
Car loan, you owe your mortgage,
right?
You owe
Different interest
card,
rates, and say we take your house then, right? Because using your property and equity is to do debt consolidation, and we give it a very low interest rate over a longer time, Kalila, and we reduce your monthly payments. What you find, people go back and take out those same debts.
Oh, no.
Yes, so you're not creating that value in your salary or in your disposable income to ensure that you can now take on another type of debt that can make your net worth increase. So debt consolidation is good, but you must stay on the path of recovery. Yeah.
So as a lender, do you stay on them? Do you, when you have your clients who come to you for debt consolidation?
We give the financial literacy, before we go into that kind of arrangement. Our office does ensure that we talk to them, what happened, and try to ensure that they don't go back into, you can imagine you consolidate all your debts and we took it from 200,000 to 100,000. You now have 100,000 in your salary, and you've gone back. That makes no sense. So we try to encourage customers. We check up on them every now and again. You know, what's happening, how are things, and we do have some customers who come back again. Oh, I'm here again. I need to get that consolidated.
Oh.
So yeah.
yeah. Stay on the right path.
Stay on the right
and
path.
you'll get there. Debt consolidation can be a huge assistance to you
It can.
in lowering your overall debt, freeing up some space in your monthly payments and so on. Another type of debt that gets a very, very bad reputation is credit cards. People are so scared of credit cards, and for good reason, because the interest rates tend to be very, very high. It's a very expensive type of loan, but credit cards can be used to your advantage. Tell me how.
The world is now one hub, Kalila. Often than not, you can't buy without a credit card. You can't buy online. The first thing persons ask you, do you have a credit card to pay for this? And so it's convenience. A credit card is really for convenience. Now, how you use the credit card and the discipline of using the credit card is where a lot of us go wrong. My philosophy is, if it is that you can't pay back that credit card that you have used, don't use it. Don't overuse what you can't pay back. Sometimes things happen, we understand, and you'll be charge interest. Don't be late. Ensure you pay at least your minimum payments on your credit card. So credit cards are really for convenience, and the interest rates are tied to it because of the risk involved. Yeah, it's easy for someone to walk away from a credit card. There's no security.
Yeah, it's basically an unsecured
loan. And so what we say, ensure that you don't forget to pay your credit card on time and in full.
Right. And if you pay in full by the due date, you pay no interest.
Because you just pay back what you use.
It's basically a free loan.
Yes.
And you can earn rewards. JN has one of the best credit cards out there. We recently did a comparison of all the credit cards in Jamaica, and your card came out as one of the top ones.
Yes. We may not give points right now. We're working on that. But our reward partners are very attractive.
And in terms of interest rates and fees, you guys
are
one
of the lowest in the market.
Yes,
I encourage our viewers to come on over to JN Bank and take on our credit card.
Well, thank you so much, Petal. This is very useful and very insightful.
Thank you, Kalila. Thanks for having me.
So I hope you are now better able to differentiate between good debt and bad debt. Hopefully, you'll be able to use this information to improve your financial standing. And if you need further information about any of the products and services discussed in today's program, please contact the experts at JN Bank. Also, visit jnbank.com to learn more. Now, before we go, we have a giveaway question. List one JN Bank product you can use to help repair your debt. Again, one JN Bank product you can use to help repair your debt. Send your answers to jngroupmarketingpromotions@gmail.com. The first person with the correct answer will receive a gift certificate valued at $50. So good luck. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Join us again next week, same time, same place, for another episode of JN Talking Wealth. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. And of course, follow JN Bank on all their social media platforms. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Take care.